In the world of Genshin Impact, you're exposed to a lot of different stats and attributes that can help make your character stronger. A majority of players like to focus on stats like flat attack damage and percentage increase, crit rate and damage, or elemental damage bonuses. Although these will definitely make your characters hit harder, none provide as much value to your entire team comp than energy recharge. Before I go over why I believe energy recharge may just be the best stat in the game, I'd like to say that if you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe for more Genshin Impact videos. I want to provide consistent content every week to help you guys enjoy the game how you want to. As always, let me know down in the comments if you have any suggestions on things you would like to see in future videos. To understand energy recharge, we first need to understand how energy works in Genshin Impact. Basically, energy is a resource that you need in order to cast your elemental burst. If you're familiar with the term mana in other games, energy is quite like the mana system. In those games, character abilities require a mana cost, and only after you have enough mana can you successfully use that ability. You gain energy by picking up elemental particles and orbs during battle. This happens automatically, so you don't have to worry about running over them to pick them up. Elemental particles look like this, while elemental orbs look like this. These can either be generic or they can be element specific, which depends on what action you took to generate it. Generic particles and orbs regain you a flat amount, while element-specific orbs give more energy back to characters with the matching vision. Picking up elemental particles and orbs gives your entire party energy, although your active character receives significantly more. I've put up numbers for how much these elemental orbs and particles generate for your character on field and your characters in the party, and I've credited the source in the video description. Feel free to browse it if you're interested. Now that we have a better understanding of energy, let's take a look at exactly how you can generate these elemental orbs. There are 3 different ways that you can generate energy consistently. The first way is by basic attacking. So every 4 attacks, you generate 1 energy. This, however, only applies to the character on the field. Overall, this generally isn't that important because the energy generation from this is so insignificant. The second way you can generate energy is by using your elemental skill. By using your elemental skill on enemies, you will always generate elemental particles. This elemental particle is element specific to the skill you used. The standard amount is 4 particles, but for some characters that have charged abilities, this can change. Lisa, for example, generates no particles when you tap her E, and generates 4 particles when you fully charge the AoE. Bennett only generates 2 particles when you tap his skill, but generates more when you charge it. It's also interesting to note that if your elemental skill persists, in the example of Gooba or Oz, and keeps dealing damage after cast, you will generate energy from that too. The last way to generate energy is by killing an enemy. Killing an enemy will always generate you a generic particle. In addition, some enemies will give you generic or element-specific energy when they hit certain health thresholds. For Helicurls, they usually drop 1 generic particle once they hit 50% health. I've also tested this on a few other enemies, but generally I don't think it's worth learning these thresholds for each enemy. Just know that your enemies will drop energy particles and orbs the more you damage them. This may change how you approach a certain battle. For example, maybe instead of focusing down 1 enemy at a time, you use your elemental bursts and try to get all the enemies low to enable you to cast your elemental burst quickly again. Alright, now that we got all of that out of the way, let's talk about the energy recharge stat that I claimed is one of the best stats in the game. So what really is energy recharge and why does it matter? Energy recharge is simply how much those elemental orbs and particles fill up your elemental burst meter. Simply put, the more energy recharge you have, the quicker you get your elemental burst back, and the more times you can get your ult off during a fight. This is important because in Genshin Impact, you're playing with 4 characters simultaneously instead of 1. As so, you usually have one character that is geared to be your main DPS, while all other characters support them, either through healing or buffing, providing crowd control, providing burst and AoE, or proccing strong elemental reactions. As so, if you're building every character in your party to do damage, chances are these characters wouldn't even be able to take advantage of all the offensive stats you put on them. Because for the majority of the time, you're relying on your main DPS to be basic attacking while you wait for cooldowns. Stats like attack and crit only provide true value when the character wearing them is on the field for long periods of time. So, to get the most value out of your entire party, you want to be able to get as many rotations of elemental skill and bursts from your other 3 characters as you can. Remember what I said earlier about how these elemental particles and orbs will give all your characters energy? So, even when they're not on the field, they have the potential to charge up their elemental bursts. The faster they charge these up, the sooner you can rotate through your party and combo your elemental bursts together. You should always be equipping your support characters with energy recharge, either through artifact set bonuses or secondary stat boosts from your artifacts and weapons. The Exile is a perfect 2-piece, or depending on your comp, a 4-piece set that you should take advantage of for your support characters. You should also never run more than the 2-piece set for Scholar. Weapons that have energy recharge as one of their core stats is preferred. For sword users, a great budget support weapon is the Skyrider sword, and you can easily get this to max rank. For Shangling support and future polearm users, Favorius Lance should be your go-to polearm. For a quick example, my Bennett right now is sitting at about 200% energy recharge. With his elemental burst having a pretty long uptime and a very short cooldown, I can almost have his ultimate in play for the entire fight. Energy recharge may not be as sexy as sheer offensive power. It certainly doesn't feel as noticeable in play compared to crit or attack. However, the value it generates over a prolonged fight, I believe, is greater than any other stat in the game. Especially towards endgame, when all the fights get longer, the extra elemental burst you can squeeze in is game-changing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and consider subscribing to my channel for more weekly Genshin Impact content. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Do you guys agree or disagree with me? Also, if there's anything you'd like me to cover in the next video, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I want my videos to help you guys enjoy the game how you want to. With all that said, thanks for watching. Till next time.